On this week's episode, I have to go through and do a bit of a rush job. Now, every year for Halloween, our buddy Jero does a Halloween ride down on the northern New South Wales. So basically we just do like a 3-day ride, riding around, hitting a bunch of pubs, staying in a bunch of places. Now, that is 7 days away. Today is Thursday, we leave next Friday. So this here is the bike that I want to ride. So I have a fucking lot of work to do. So in this episode, we're going to go through and build a bike in 7 days. The old 7-day chopper trick. So I have been collecting these parts for a couple of years now. Don't think I just fucking whatever, click my fingers and the chopper's done. I've been collecting these parts for a fucking long time. I have most of the stuff sitting here. I just need to fit it. So like these pink tanks, for instance, I'm going to run split tanks on this thing. Everyone that watches my channel know that I fucking hate those small little shit wassail tanks that get you from one service station to the next. Nothing worse than watching some guy try and start his bike 1,000 times because he's got to stop 1,000 times for fuel. I want to do like 250-ish Ks on a tank, you know what I mean? 250 to 300 Ks on a tank is the fucking sweet spot. You don't want to do 80 fucking Ks like every pub runner on the Gold Coast does. So I'm going to run those pink split tanks. They are not an OG split tank. I don't have that sort of money. OG tanks for a panhead can go from like 3 to 5 grand in Australia. So they are just some aftermarket tanks that I'm going to chop up and make really sick. I will probably chop them up and make them real narrow when I do the pan. For the time being, I'm going to leave them as they is. This was a typical Gold Coast chopper frame. It had all the split tank mounts chopped off it. So I have since gone through and I've tacked them on. I have fitted those tanks. That's basically as far as I've got with building this bike. So we have to put a bike together, riding bike together in 7 days. And I've got to ride it it's probably going to be 500 or 600 Ks that I ride this thing. Let's say 500 kilometers. So what's that? 300 miles or something I've got to ride this thing. So not a crazy amount of Ks, but still means this thing's going to fucking work. Now, by no means is this frame ready to go. By no means have I fitted everything to this thing. This is just going to be a fucking slap together job. And then when my panhead engine and gearbox is completely finished, we're going to pull this thing apart and go through it. So basically, the biggest ticket items I'm going to go through and get done with this bike. The most annoying one that I can't do, I can do everything else. The one I can't do is make a seat. Now, I absolutely despise those stupid sprung seats. Nothing worse than riding a rigid already. The only thing worse than riding a rigid is riding a rigid with a sprung seat, because all you do is just sit there and fucking bounce all day. So fucking stupid. I don't know why people think they're cool. They aren't. Stop riding rigid seats. Get yourself a little Cobra. It's 10 times more comfy. Don't sit there bouncing all day on fucking springs. So I'm going to go through, lop these fucking stupid sprung seat mounts off because they are stupid. And the only thing I can't do is I can fabricate the seat pan. I can't foam it and cover it. So that's my buddy Ron's going to come in. Spoken to Ron, I reckon we'll probably try and go there Tuesday, Wednesday, which means this thing has to be basically painted, rolling, ready. I don't have to have an engine gearbox in it. I just need to have the frame painted. Obviously not going to stay green. Tank's obviously not going to stay pink. So I need to have this frame painted. I'll probably do a rattle can job. I actually have a few cans of old paint from cars and stuff. Maybe I'll find a little color and just give this a quick whip. So the biggest ticket item is going to be the seat. So I have Ron booked in for Tuesday, Wednesday next week to do the seat. And that gives me sort of Wednesday, Thursday to get the thing dialed in, and I leave first thing Friday. I have to ride down to northern New South Wales. It's probably 2 hours from my joint. So Friday morning I have to leave. So basically, like I was saying, big ticket items are the seat, and I need to mount the guard and the rear wheel. I have like a rear wheel mount guard kit fucking doodad, so we'll see how that goes. I got a ribbed fender just to make my life annoying. I got a chromed one to make my life even more annoying. So I don't want to fucking Swiss cheese that chrome fender because they are pretty cool. I want to have the right mounts in it the first time, and then when I come back and do the pan stuff, I don't have to change any mounts. It goes straight back together. Now, I'm pretty sure I have most of the parts to get this done. I don't have an exhaust. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to fabricate a quick exhaust. I'm just not going to fucking do like a stainless. I'm just going to do a steel exhaust. and hopefully I can get 2 long stainless bits of tube out the back, but then the headers coming out of the head will be steel, and I'll put those slinky things over it just to cover up the welds a little bit, because obviously they're going to rust. So I think I'll do some shotguns with it just to be nice and simple, easy to go, and it'll work. So like I said, my panhead engine and gearbox is not ready for this frame. So I have a little idea. So come with me, I'll fucking show you. So this is my 1968 generator shovel. So this is like a full original sort of bagger deal. The problem with this bike is that I am absolutely pissing oil out. So this engine runs absolutely flawless, but it's starting to do the old base gasket leak and not head gasket, but rocker box gasket leak. It's also leaking out of my lifter blocks there. So this engine needs to come out to re-seal it. Now the thing runs and rides fucking mint. It just has oiling issues where it absolutely shits out oil. So I need to pull this engine out anyway and redo the seals. So what I'm thinking is I'm gonna borrow this engine and gearbox and put it in this just for this ride, and until I get my pan finished, and then I can swap them around and then basically do a top end on this. So I'm just gonna run my panhead engine and gearbox as it is. Just this thing runs and rides mint, so I'm just gonna steal it. I don't really give a fuck if it leaks a bit of oil, who gives a shit? I'm just gonna run this thing, engine and gearbox, take it straight out of that and put it in that. Now I don't wanna run, this thing's obviously got electric start and a big alloy primary. I don't want to run any of this. So I have up there on the wall, you guys have probably seen it a million times, I have the tin primary just there and then a cover for it. So I'll run a tin primary, be kick only. I have an oil bag down there. So it'll be a horseshoe oil bag, not this guy. Basically just gonna steal the heart out of this thing and put it in that bike for now. I have a full mechanical brake setup. So that's what I'm going through now. This is the mechanical brake crossover. I just bought like a little V-twin kit. This is all the shit for it. So I'm gonna set up the rear wheel now and get that where I need it. I think I bought this by the way. I think I might steal this wheel off my buddy Darcy. This is exactly the tire I wanna run and the same wheel. I don't have a tire for mine yet. This is my wheel that I want to run. Typical my stuff, it needs work because I've bought this off a customer because it's fucked, and I am going to fix it for myself because I can't afford one. Basically this bearing on this side's good, but this bearing race on this one's fucked out. So I've got to machine a bearing and put it in there, but for the time being I might just borrow Darcy's wheel with the tire on it because I've still got to get a tire. I have one ordered, but if I run out of time I won't bother with doing this bearing beforehand. I'll just run Darcy's. So I've got mechanical brake here. So I've got a full chrome mechanical brake set up there. That's all sorted. That's the bearing for that. I have an axle. I have all of this stuff here. So realistically, I should be able to put all this brake stuff together. Oh, where's my guard? There's my guard there. I've got a chrome ass guard just here. So that should be pretty sweet. I wasn't after a chrome guard, but I realized how expensive shipping is from lowbrow from the States. They wanted 140 US to ship one of those fucking guards, and it's 140 US to buy one. So it's a 300, 500 Australian dollar fucking guard by the time it gets here. So I found a chrome one in Australia. So like I said, I need to fit that there. Oil bag, crossover, all that stuff. Once I have all that mocked up and fit, I'm pretty well sorted to go through and finish up some welding stuff on this frame. Like obviously cut these off, and then with the guard on, I'm gonna make the rear seat and all that sort of bullshit. So basically what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna get cracking, start knocking together some of this. I'm gonna work out all my brake stuff now, rear guard, all that shit, and then we'll come back and have a look what I'm up to. I will need to get together a whiteboard and do the old put my days on there, what needs to be done by when to have this thing done on time. So let's fucking get cracking. Like I said, it is Thursday about lunchtime. I leave tomorrow week, so I need to get this done. So I've got a wheel on here. I have all my brake stuff on here. I just wanted to put all this crossover and stuff on just to make sure it's all there and it does somewhat work. Obviously you can see I got a bit of a bend in it down here. I need to give this a little notch in there so that this comes up on the correct angle. All this works pretty well. Those are my floorboards, by the way. These are some that I'm gonna run. I just wanted to put them on there to see where I'm at. As you can see, one of the holes here does not line up. So when I say holes, I mean one of these brackets here. So, you know, these floorboard mounts have been taken off and welded on a million times when it comes to these frames. This is an OG frame, by the way, not aftermarket. So I imagine this has been moved at some point because this is correct. Obviously this is not original, but I tested this on an original floorboard and these are the same distance apart. So these should be the same, which tells me that this is in the wrong spot. So I've got a few other little things here I need to fix and weld out. So when I have this frame apart and I'm welding stuff, I'm gonna move this forward a little bit and make this line up and then we'll be all sweet. But all the brake and everything works on this. That spring's gotta go back here. Like I said, I don't wanna have to set it up now. I'll do that final assembly. I just wanted to make sure it's all there and we can make that happen. This side, I've got like a Lee style pedal. I really hate these pedals because for some reason they're up really stupid high. Obviously because this mount is supposed to have a rocker clutch and rocker clutches are the most unnatural feeling shit thing in the world. So I always run a foot clutch like this. But these Lee style clutches, that's sort of where you got to set them up and then they do that. But when I have a foot clutch, I always set it up so that your heel has something to rest on, so you have a datum. So you can just sort of ride it with your heel. No point having your foot up in the air and kicking it like a fucking soccer ball. You need to have your heel on the floorboard and just work it like that. So I usually cut the guts out of these and lower them so I can do exactly that. So I'm not gonna do that till I have this thing pretty well together. It is a bit fucking skew-if too. I don't know why it's on the piss, so I'll fucking bend this back, sort all that out, and all that Lee pedal will work nicely. I think this rear mount, it's been fucked with before. I think I'm gonna have to fuck with that. Another pet hate of mine is floorboards that aren't the same level and height. They have to be the same, otherwise it feels like you're riding a fucking push bike. So I'll make sure that's correct before I put it back together, but basically all that is pretty good. Like I said, I'm pretty happy with how all this fits. Now I've got a wheel in there and all that, I can put the guard on and start mounting that. So that's what I'm gonna do now. Thanks a lot, compressor. I'm gonna put the guard on and start doing that. Right, I reckon this video is just gonna be full of fucking updates along the way. So here is another update. I have the mount, I have the guard here, or the fender as you Americans call it, pretty well mounted. I had a bit of a boo-boo here. I was trying to do something a bit different. I was gonna inset the guard into my little cross piece here and then just have some little tabs that come off it. But when I put the wheel in and then made the wheel, you know, made the guard square to the wheel, that didn't really work out. But that's the beauty of a welder. I will fix that up when I come to welding the rest of it. But pretty well what I just did, I got some aluminium, right? And I just scalloped it out so it's the same radius as the tube. And then I have a through bolt through it. So sometimes these ribbed fenders can be a little bit annoying to mount, but I found that's a pretty easy way. And for this bottom one, I sort of did the opposite. See, it might be a bit hard with the chrome, but I made a little aluminium washer that follows the contour of the rib here. So the bolt goes straight through the center of the rib, and then this little washer holds the rib around its radius. Now this is actually a super strong way to do it because I don't know if you guys have had anything to do with sheet metal. If you have a plain flat bit of sheet metal, it's really wobbly. If you put a fold or a crease down the center of it, it is super rigid. So mounting it on this rib in the center is actually super strong, because this part here is way stronger than what it would be if it was a flat guard, because it's got all this strength through here. So mounting it through there will be super rigid, and I've only got 2 sets of mounts on there, and that thing is fucking rigid as. So basically what I want to do next, before I go through welding this up, I need to put some inserts, because I got bolts that just go straight through this tube at the moment. So I want to weld a slug in there, so when I tighten it down, it doesn't crush the tube. So when I do that, I will fix this. I will cut these stupid fucking sprung seat mounts off, and I want to go through, before I do that, and do my oil bag. So annoying thing, I don't have the oil bag base, so this guy to go through here, but I can still mount the back of the oil bag, because the little thing goes off the 2 bolts at the back. Now I've got to find the little thing. It's in my boxes of fucking parts down there somewhere. I've got to go for a dig and find it, but basically I want to bolt the oil tank in. I'll probably have to make some little spaces here, because the base bolts underneath it. I actually can't find a base in Australia. They're fucking hard to find. I'm trying to buy one from the States, but everywhere's sold out except V-Twin, and V-Twin is an absolute prick to order through in Australia. They send something this big in a box the size of the table, and then you pay $900 US in shipping. So it's fucking stupid. Anyway, so I'm just going to make some little spaces here to space the oil bag up what it needs, because it doesn't have the stupid base, and I don't need to run a base. I will probably make a little something to hold the battery, but worry about that later. This thing will be kick only. I don't need to worry about that. So I'll put the oil bag in, work out these 2 mounts at the back, drill them, and that is pretty well the guards sorted. I'm going to go through and fix all this up, and then make a seat pan, because I need to get Ron to cover me a seat pretty quick for this thing. All right, so it's bright and sunny day number 2. So this time next Friday, so a week from today, I will be at the pub at the first stop where we're all meeting. So I have exactly 6 days now to get this done. So where am I up to this fine morning? So basically I have my oil bag pretty well set up here. Like I said, don't have the base for this. Fucking hard to find. So I've just got some spaces under the front there. I have all this bolted in down the bottom there. So I have all that bracket in there. These 2 bolts here holding up the back of the oil bag there. These are not the bolts I'm going to use. They're just mock-up bolts, so don't worry about that. So the oil bag is pretty nicely set up here, I may add. So all that looks fucking sweet. I noticed my fucking guard is a bit on the piss here. You see how it's on the piss but not straight to the neck? It's funny, because this is square the whole way around to the wheel. So got something funky going on here. Whether the wheel's not exactly square in this old frame or something, I'm not sure. But all I'm going to do is oval these holes a little bit, and that'll allow me to straighten this guard up a little bit. But not the end of the world. I can fix all of that. So that is pretty well all the bits I needed to fit to this thing. I'm pretty sure what I'm going to do now, I'm going to pull all this shit out, go through, weld up everything I need to on this frame, and then I'm going to set this shit back up, and we're going to do a seat pan so we can go see my buddy Ron. But for the time being, I'm going to cut these stupid sprung mounts off. They're the fucking dumbest thing in the world. Clean this frame up, weld all these little bits and pieces that I haven't done yet, get this thing ready for paint, and then today I might sort out I really want to paint this thing this weekend. So today's Friday. I'd like to paint it sort of tomorrow or the next day. So I want to probably get this, I'm actually not sure. I'll probably get all this prepped, put this back together, and then start on the seat pan this afternoon. And then tomorrow morning, I'll do a crude little prep on this thing and paint it, I reckon. Same with those tanks there. I'll paint them at the same time. So let's go ahead, pull this thing down, and start doing some welding and shit on this. Right, a bit of an update. It's fucking hot and sweaty here in Australia, starting to come into summer, but basically I have all this sorted out. I have all this welded and blended. I welded and blended all of this top casting. I even welded in this rib, so back looks original. Once we paint this, you won't even tell the difference. I went right in here and cleaned all this shit up, made it look nice. You see people do that really shitty sometimes. They just have big booger welds or just tacks holding this thing on. I wanted it to look a bit nicer. I even put this little nub for the steering dampener on that I didn't have, so I just made something quickly and put it in there so it looks right. Basically, I welded out my front split tank mount here, that guy. I went through and did my mounts for the rear guard. I also fixed a little notch that I fucked up. Basically, I just put these tubes through here so that when we tighten this down, we don't crush this tube. We need to have these tubes in the middle so we can tighten it without crushing this tube. So those go the whole way through, and then I've just butt welded them at the end there. So that's all nice and factory. Fixed up all the stupid holes that were there after those stupid spring mounts were on there. So that is pretty well sorted. All of this is done. The only thing I'm doing now, setting up this floorboard and moving this peg mount here, just because it wasn't in the right spot before. You can see where it used to be there. Obviously, it wasn't supposed to be there because it had a TIG weld on it. These frames were never TIG welded, so that's obviously someone tried to put that back on and did it in the wrong spot. So I've just set up my floorboard there, correct angle, everything, and I'm just going to tack that back on, weld it out, and then this frame is pretty well ready to paint. I want to paint this thing tomorrow being Saturday, so I'll have whatever, Saturday and Sunday. I'll probably have to wait Sunday for this thing to dry, and then Monday I can start assembling it. Monday I'm probably going to have to assemble this thing into a complete roller and then make the seat pan, and then on Tuesday I'll probably take this thing to my buddy Ron's place and make the seat. So I've got my work cut out for me, but now the frame's done, I need to get over to the tanks. I want to clean up a few things before I paint these. I'm going to get rid of all this crap on here where, you know, all this old stuff goes. Obviously get rid of this pink paint. I had to do a bit of massaging in here to make it fit the frame. The other thing I've got to do is weld on these bottom mounts again. I don't know why people do this. They cut these bottom mounts off these split tanks for some reason. I don't know why. They're always done or they've always been welded back on already. So now that the frame's welded up, I'm going to go through, bolt these on, make those bottom things, tack them on, weld them out, and then prep these tanks for paint as well, because I will paint them the same time as this. Now, this is not going to be a good paint job by any means. This is going to be a 10-footer. It's going to look good from 10 feet away, but get up close, it's going to look like shit. Just because I'm not blasting this thing, I'm not going to be able to go through and get out all these chips and stuff. So I'm just going to come through with a bit of sandpaper and just clean them up roughly. And then I'm just going to flick something over the top to get rid of this ugly green and that fucked pink. So I have an old Sylvia color. I used to do a lot of fucking, turn this off for a sec. Used to do a lot of fucking Japanese import stuff. And I have a silver here. So I don't think it says on it, does it? Oh, it used to once upon a time. Oh, it sort of does. Nissan Infinity Silver. So that is what I'm going to paint this thing in, I reckon. I do have a few other colors. I have this color as well. This is my partner's Sportster here. And this is like a really light sky blue. I have this, but I don't think I really want that on my chopper. So I might go this silver. It's like a fucking, you can sort of see it on the can, I suppose. It's sort of like a dark silver, almost gunmetal grey sort of thing. So I think that'll look pretty good. I'm going to slap that on there. Obviously, it's not going to be a long-term thing. I'm just going to paint this up so it looks nice for a few months till my panhead stuff's done, tear it all apart again, and then repaint it. So I'm going to leave this guy together for as long as possible. And then once I have a roller here that's just ready for an engine and gearbox, then I'm going to pull that out. I still want this to be the backup bike if I don't get this done. So fingers crossed, I'm just going to get this thing completely rolling, painted, seat, everything ready to go. And then I will pinch that stuff out, wire it up, and it will be good to go. So I'm going to finish this off that I'm doing, start prepping the tanks, and then when you see this next, hopefully we are going to be prepping this thing for paint. All right, so it is the next day, so day 3 now. This is basically where I'm up to. I got all my welding on this frame done. You can see I blended all this casting and everything super nice. I fitted the tanks now. I did the little underside tank mount that everyone cuts off for some reason. All that's sorted. I took off all the emblem stuff as well. I wasn't really stoked on that, so all that's come off. And I basically got all the frames sorted out. Like I took this thing off, welded it back on. I was gonna fix my rear gearbox mount here. It's annoying. I thought there was no thread in it, but there is. It's just all the way down the bottom. So like this will go in, but then thread in. There's still thread all the way down the bottom. It's gonna be a fucking annoying thing to fix because there's really not enough room to weld a slug in there and fucking go through it. So I'm gonna leave that alone and just hope for the best. I don't really want to go fucking with that right now. But the other thing I did, I think I showed you this already, didn't I? Did that, so that's all sorted. Rear guard is all ready to be mounted. Rear tank, everything is sorted. So basically all I want to do today is paint this thing. So I want to paint the oil bag, the frame, and the tanks. It's all going to be the same color. I have the color over here actually. Let's go have a look at the color. I've had this thing sitting around for years. Like I said, it's like a fucking silver color. It's like a dark sort of metallic silver. Looks pretty fucking sweet actually. So obviously I need to give it a bit more of a mix, but you sort of get the idea. Sort of like a dark, almost gunmetal gray, sort of dark gray silver with heaps of metallic in it. So this is not going to stay this color for a long time. I just sort of want to get a color on it to get rid of the fucking Shrek and Princess Fiona theme going on here. Get it all one color. Also the oil bag's just fucking black. So I'm going to get it all one color, get it all sorted, and then bolt it together. It's only going to be together for a little while until I have finished my pan. I keep talking about my pan. This is it here. Till I have put that together, I have all the bits for it now, but I need a gearbox as well. So once I've got that sorted and the gearbox sorted, I will pull the generator stuff back out of this frame, do the top end on that motor, and put all my pan stuff in there. So basically, all I'm going to be doing today is sanding this thing and painting this thing. So I'll give you a bit of an update during the process, but I'm basically just going to be doing the annoying sanding and painting today. So let's get to it. Right, so an update on paint day, and the place is an absolute fucking bomb site. But I have the frame all prepped and ready for prime. I have done the tanks already. There's one over there. Here is the other one here. I'm just doing backyard paint job here, nothing special. 10 footer, 15 footer, whatever. Tank's good to go. Frame, good to prime. I'm just using a fucking shitty old little edge primer here. Edge primer grey. It's fucking good to get rid of the green and the pink. So this thing ready for edge primer. Like I said, the only thing I've got left to prep and prime is the oil bag right there. But the frame is pretty well the big ticket item. I just want to get this thing all cleaned down now. I've got to get some thinners and go over this thing and clean it, prime it, and then I will get onto the oil bag, and then we'll put some color on this thing. It needs to be done today, and I need to do it before the sun goes down because all the bugs get stuck in the paint. I've had that problem before and I don't want to have it again. So let's fucking get into it, get this thing primed, and when we come back, we'll be shooting some color on this. All right, so it is paint time here. I have all my stuff crudely set up here. Oil bag in the back, tins and frame all primed now, so that is good to go. It's a nice breeze out, so that is perfect for painting. So gonna go through here, mix some paint up. I've had that paint so long I don't really remember the mixture. It has here what I could make out as 1-to-1, so that's what I'm going with. I'm gonna go 1 part this to 1 part hardener with a bit of thinners and see what happens, I suppose. I don't know, this thing might be sticky forever, we'll see. All right, so I managed to get all this painted before all the bugs came out at night. It is said night now, and there is, probably can't see it, bugs everywhere. But this is basically it. Turned out freaking super good, actually. It is still a 10 footer, like I said, but it did turn out pretty freaking nice. The tanks leave a little bit to be desired. The frame looks way better. I did spend a bit more time on the frame, so, and it looks like it's going dry. So whatever I did with the 1-to-1 mixture seems to be working. It's all dry. So oil bag, the tanks. Once I do a bit of a Bondo job on this, it'll be all right. It's just because I took those emblems off that were on here, and it's just got all the bits where it was tack welded on there, but all turned out pretty nice. I'm gonna have to do some weird shit with the fuel bungs for this, because this has got the top feed fuel shut off bit. So I don't think I have the bottom bit for it, so I might just do a bit of funky machining and just put a generic fuel tap in there. So I'll machine a bung that goes into the tank, and then just have a generic fuel shut off, and then some sort of a T to run the other tank. But that shouldn't be too bad. So that is all the painting done now, all the shit done. I'm actually pretty happy with, this is the top casting that I had to put back on, and I obviously tried to blend it as much as possible. It actually came out pretty nice. If I was to do that a little bit better with a bit of high fill primer and a sand, that would be fucking factory again. But I'm not a big fan of fins on the frame, but yeah, these don't look too bad. I think this would be cool with like a white pinstripe down it, but this is just a 10-footer. It's not going to be like this forever. So in the meantime, it is Saturday night right now, so having a few of these. So what I think I might do while I do that, I might sort my front end out. So this is like probably a 70s wide glide. It's not the correct pan wide glide for that, but it's a 70s wide glide, so it's pretty close. It has just your normal banana caliper mounts there. So what I want to do, I think I might start putting this together. I'm going to start doing that by shaving these legs. So I'm just going to cut this crap off that I don't want, use my little linisher there, and blend this all ready to go. And then I have a gasket kit and stuff, and I'll assemble all this. So I will check back with you tomorrow morning when I keep going on this. Let's see how much of this I get done tonight. All right, so it is day 4 here. So basically last night I got pretty motivated and I got my lowers done. So I just shaved them, gave them a quick polish, nothing crazy. You can sort of see a few imperfections in there, but once again, looks good from 10 feet. This is the 10-footer. So what I'm doing now, I am going to run my spool 21. So this is a star hub that I've taken the brake off. I don't know where the fuck I put it. I took my Springer front drum brake off, and I'm just going to run it as a spool. So naturally, this has got a 3/4 axle. So I have the axle in the machine here, and I'm going to take it down to 11/16, which is the axle size for this guy, and then just make some spaces and put it all together. When this is all said and done, I'm not really ruining this axle because I've got my brother's shovel head chopper over there that I'm just going to run this front end on, and I need an 11/16 axle to run the wheel he's got anyway. So I'm not really ruining an axle here. It will get used after this. I'm going to put probably my Indian girder on this front end, on this bike when it's got my pan head in there. Got that Indian girder, and I want to run the Harley Springer front brake on that Indian girder there. So this front end will live again on another bike, so I'm not really worried about cutting up the factory axle. So basically I have my frame and all my painted stuff in the sun here, just getting a bit dry, getting a bit of a bake before I come out here and destroy it. But I have cups for the top, I have all that shit. So hopefully once I get this front end done, get that wheel on it, I can make this thing a fucking roller today. So slap all this on, the front end on, the neck cups, all the front wheel, all that bullshit. I can make this thing a roller today. And then Monday, I'm going to focus on doing a seat pan, putting all the guard and all the oil tank and everything in it, and then make it a rolling, basically a complete thing. Then we can take it to get the seat done, and then come back. I probably have to do a sissy bar as well tomorrow. When I do that seat pan, I need to do a sissy bar for my rear guard. So I'll probably try and do a sissy bar tomorrow as well. And then once we've got the seat done, it is project take the heart out of this and put it into that. So shouldn't be too bad. Hopefully it's all pretty well bolt in. I am worried about the heads hitting those tanks. If that's the case, if those heads hit those tanks, I'm probably going to have to run some Jenny shovel tanks, but fingers crossed they don't. They are an aftermarket tank, so fingers crossed that they have made these things to fit whatever heads. So we will see. I don't want to have to put a gauge chopper tank on it. I might steal Levi's tank, but we'll see. So today I just need to get this thing basically rolling, get all the oil tank and everything in there. I need bolts. I've just got mock-up bolts for all my guard and stuff, so I will, when the shop's open again tomorrow, go out and get all the correct bolts for that, get that on, get a sissy bar made, and then Tuesday we will go and get the seat made, and then we should be pretty on track. Then Wednesday and Thursday, I'm basically putting the engine and gearbox in it, wiring it up, and test riding. Hopefully it doesn't take that long. Hopefully on Thursday we get a good test ride in before the maiden voyage on Friday. So let's go through and let's get this front end done. Let's get this wheel on. Let's get this thing rolling and then go from there, one thing at a time. All right, so I got a little bit carried away yesterday. So basically it was a Sunday, you know, I fucking did stuff around the house too. It was fucking bullshit, but I finally got this thing rolling last night at a very late hour. So this is basically what the bike's gonna look like. You might notice the tanks are different. I fucking bolted these tanks on and they were absolutely hideous. I don't know why I didn't notice before I painted them, but you bolt them on there. I probably should have fucking showed you, but you bolt them on there. This tank is a nice narrow tank. This tank is a larger, like 5 gal size tank. So it just looked fucked. One side of the tank was huge and the other one was fucking tiny. If you look over the top of these are a nice generator shovel OG pair of tanks, and they're both the same size. The right-hand tank on those tanks was like fucking this much bigger. It was fucking gross. So I went through all that effort to get those tanks right, and then they look like shit. So now I'm gonna just run my generator shovel tanks like I should have before. And that's probably gonna be 3 times easier because I don't have to make a petcock. I don't have to worry about the stupid shutoff. The other one is I don't have to worry about the crossover because these are just a push-on tube. I can easily just buy a petcock for that, like I was saying. And the other bit was, what was it? Oh, yeah, that's right. I wasn't sure if this tank was going to fit shovel heads. So this being a generator shovel tank, I know that tank's going to fit their fucking engine. So that is just going to make my life a heap easier. So now that I got this thing rolling, sitting here ready to go, basically what I need to do today is I need to make a seat pan and a sissy bar. This is going to get a seat done tomorrow. So I need to do the sissy bar and seat pan and get that all finalized, and then we can go and get Ron to put a fucking seat on this thing. So it's basically all there. I had to get a stand off my buddy Joel, so I just have this side sort of mocked up just for ease, and it'll just sit there like that. I don't have to have it mocked up on something annoying. So stands on there, all that shit. Front end's all sorted. I've just got these sort of nice little pullback things on here. I don't mind those. The only thing I might do, I've got this bar and dog bones here, so I might go up a bit with that, get a bar and dog bones going. But you sort of get the idea. This is the direction I'm going. The other thing I haven't mentioned yet, I'm gonna have to make a fucking exhaust for this too. So I'm gonna make a quick and nasty exhaust once I've put all that stuff in there. So basically, like I said, what I need to do today is do a bit of fabrication, get a sissy bar on here. It's not gonna be really tall. I also wanted to do it out of flat bar, but that is all the stainless flat bar I have at the moment. So I have a pretty decent sized length of 5/8 solid round bar there. So I think I'm gonna use that. I'm just gonna use this as sort of the crossover piece across the top of the guard. I'll use that for that, and I should be pretty sorted. The seat pan, like I was saying, is gonna be a bit annoying because I gotta do this rib. Usually everyone just runs a fucking sprung seat with their ribbed fender like that. I don't wanna do it, so I'm still leaning towards rolling a piece of tube. I had it here somewhere. I've got a thin wall tube here. So what I'm thinking, I might put it in my roller, roll that tube to the same radius as the guard, and then just section it in half, and then I can just weld sort of 2 bits of flat on the side of it, and that will make up my seat pan. Sort of, you can't just put a flat piece on there because it'll just rock. It'll sit on there and just do this, and it'll be super uncomfortable to ride. I also can't really form something because in order to get this side to go down, if you were to put a radius in it and a radius this direction, you need to shrink it. I don't have a shrinker, so sure, you could probably cut it a million times and weld it up, but I don't want to fuck around with that. I think it'll just be easier to roll a piece of tube, section it, and put it on there. I think that's going to be the easiest way to do this. So that's exactly what I'm going to do today. My goal today is to get seat pan and sissy bar done, and then it's ready to go see Ron tomorrow. So let's stop fucking talking about it and let's get into it. So I've got a general idea for my sissy bar now. I don't want a fucking stupid tall one. I just want something that will, sit there. I can tie my shit to it and I can hold onto it when I kick this thing. So when it's on the stand, obviously it's not going to be like this, but I can hold onto that and kick it when it's on the stand. I don't want a super tall one. I suppose I've had a fucking heap of choppers with super tall ones now. I like the sleek sort of look of it. Like, I'll probably still have, I don't know, maybe 100 mil of padding up here or something. So the padding will be up there, number plate will be on the back, and then I'm just gonna I've just got these 2 bits tacked up. So I just made like a little flat, and then I've tacked 2 500 mil bits on there like that. All that's correct. Both sitting there like that. Nice little bit off the guard. Basically all I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna mark 2 marks there and bend these back this way, square with the guard, so it sort of comes up, and then I'll put a joining bit in the top. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do, if it's just gonna be a straight bit or I'll do something funky, but I don't know, should I put a bend in it maybe? What's that look like? Probably doesn't look too bad. Anyway, I'll bend these first straight and then I'll work out what I put between the fucking thing. But this is basically the direction I'm going. I wanted a nice short one, just enough to tie my swag and shit on. So a few hours later on a fucking hot day, I have this sissy bar pretty well dialed in now. I ended up just going with this sort of a bend in the top. Just looks strange dead straight. So I just put a little bend in the top there. I put a little strap underneath the guard just because it's a nice chrome guard. A strap underneath is going to show the guard off a bit more. Also wanted to do it in the center of the rib because when I do the seat pan, I want to collect the same bolt. So it's one bolt that holds the seat pan down and holds the rear guard on. Obviously the guard's not going to go anywhere. I put a little nub on the strap underneath so it locates in the rib, and then I will have, said fender come over and bolt in the same bolt. So I'll just probably have a wing nut so I can take that off and move it out of the way if I need to. But I thought about an easier way to do this seat pan than I have to start now. I had to do the sissy bar first so I know where the seat pan goes to, and then I'll be pretty sorted. So basically that is the look at the moment. Actually doesn't look too bad. I don't mind a short sissy bar like that. I think I'm just maturing a bit in age there, but instead of doing all that rolling crap I was talking about, I found an old front guard. So this old front guard here is off my CB750, I think, or is off a CB750, one of those guys. This is pretty well exactly the same radius, has the contour I need and everything. So I think I'm just going to chop this guy up and use that as the back of my Cobra, just because it's going to save me so much work. I'm never going to run a front guard, so I'm going to go through and use that. So basically all I got to do with this, I'm going to cut this fork mount off underneath here, and then I'll lay it on there, and then I'll make a template of my seat base in the front here, weld all that together. I'm going to make a little spigot that goes down in this, so it just sort of slides in, and then one bolt at the back, and that is how the seat stays on. So I'm going to go through, get cracking on that now. I need to have these two things done, completely finished everything today so that tomorrow we can go and see Ron and get this seat done. He needs this seat pan tomorrow, so I need to get this done. So let's do it. Alrighty, it is Monday afternoon. So what have I got done today? It doesn't look like much, but I have actually knocked it out today. Also, I don't know if any of my international viewers know what these things are. These are what we call a swoopy boy or a magpie. These things in like this spring sort of time coming into summer have nests around. This dude has a nest like all the way down the back of my property, and he does nothing but swoop us all day, every day. He is an absolute pest, this guy. If I go out here, he will swoop the hell out of me. But he comes in the shed. Oh God, see? As soon as you turn your back, he will swoop. You little prick. Anyway, he will come in the shed and swoop me. But anyway, this is where I'm up to. Basically, I have the seat pan completely done now. I have this little knob here that sort of goes into the down tube where the spring, where your pogo usually goes in. The front guard worked out an absolute fucking treat, actually. It's just super thin, being Japanese and fucking just a guard. It's super thin. So what I'm going to do, I have a little plate that I'm making here, just a sort of like a doubling plate. I'm going to put it on top here, weld it to the top, and then I will cut this out so when the seat goes on, it's just got a little tab that comes out, so you don't really see much of it. But that is pretty well the seat pan sorted there. A little trick with these seat pans, you put a nice big radius in here. You don't want the seats that go straight down like right angles like that, because your backbone just pushes on the back here. You want a nice radius on there so your ass sits in the radius. So that's what me and Ron are going to do tomorrow. But this turned out pretty well. Once you sit on it, all this comes nice. Once it's got a bit of foam under it and all that, it'll actually turn out fucking super nice. But I got pretty well the sissy bar all tacked up. I still got to pull it off and weld it up, but I've just got this little brace that goes underneath the guard. You probably can't see it, but there's plenty of room for my tire there. Goes underneath and then just has the one bolt up. I made a little piece that sort of sits in this rib, so when I tighten the bolt, it doesn't crush the rib. So that turns out super nice. And pretty well, I am fucking getting there. So I'm hoping to have this seat and the sissy bar all finished up tonight. I'm going to put this thing in my truck and I'm going to take it up to Gympie, and me and Ron are going to sort this fucking seat out tomorrow. And then the seat's the last thing, and then it's all guns blazing, putting the engine and gearbox from that in this, and then fucking hopefully clean sailing. I know that engine and gearbox is good, so as long as all this roller is mint, it's going to go sweet. So I did an order this first thing this morning on a few little bits and pieces I need, like a chain and a petcock and this and that. So fingers crossed I get it the next couple of days. If not, I'm just going to have to pilfer a few things off a couple of bikes here. Not the end of the world, but getting there. Hopefully I'll have an update by the end of today, get this thing in my truck, and we will go get a seat done tomorrow. So here we are, bike loaded up in the back. Out here at Ron's place, Rondell's. Nice little view there. Let's get a freaking seat done. Oh, look at that. He's got a bit of ochre flag out the front. There it is, Rondell's. Let's freaking get this done.
Wobbly it comes out.
Wobbly jobbly.
Wobbly jobbly. That might have seat.
It's gonna look good from your place.
Yeah, super good.
Alright, so we are back in my shed now after a quick trip to Gympie and back in the old truck, taking the chopper up there to get the seat sorted by Ron. I just left it with him. I was going to go up there and stay the day with him and do it, but I have fucking so much to do here. I really don't have the time to stay there. So I just went there, we foamed the seat. I left the seat with him. I've come back. Now I need to get stuck into getting my power plant. So I am a little cut up about pulling this thing apart. It will go back together again. I've always wanted to do a bit of a spruce up on this thing, so this is perfect time. The engine, base gaskets, and a few other gaskets are starting to absolutely spew oil. So I need to do the engine. I might as well do a bit of painting and fixing up and changing while I'm there. There's always been sort of so many little things that I want to do to this bike, and it ran so well that I never did. I just sort of kind of kept adding stuff to it, like the saddlebags and all that sort of shit. But now's going to be a good time to go through this thing and do it properly, change the paint. I've never really been stoked on the paint. Clean it up a bit and just make it a nice little runner. So as you can hear, it is raining here. This is the first decent rain we've had in fucking months. Probably 3 months we've had since decent rain. So this will be good filling up my tank. I'm only on tank water here. So anyway, it is like 2 o'clock in the afternoon now. It took me a fair while to get down to Ron's place and sort the seat stuff out. So I really need to get stuck in here. I really want to have this engine gearbox out of this thing and in that today. So tomorrow being Wednesday, I need to leave Friday morning. So tomorrow is Wednesday. I want to go through and get this thing running tomorrow. Has to be running tomorrow, and then Thursday I need to be test riding. So I really need to get this engine gearbox out of this, into that, start doing all the plumbing and stuff that I need to do. And I need to do the exhaust. I do have an exhaust that would bolt on, but it's not very chopper. I would like to do like a really quick chopper exhaust, just some little shotgun things out the back. So we'll see how I go for time. But basically this thing needs to be running tomorrow. Tomorrow being Wednesday, and then Thursday, the day before I leave, I want to do some test riding. So hopefully the weather is not like this. So let's fucking get into it. All right, so it is day 5. I have 2 days left to get this thing going. Well, sorta. I have the rest of today and tomorrow, Thursday, to get this thing done. I need to be down in northern New South Wales Friday morning. So I did a bit of procrastinating last night. You probably saw that I put this bike on the bench last night to pull the motor out. Now, I think I got the overworked feels from it. I have been overthinking this too much. This is probably the bike I was gonna ride if that bike wasn't done. So I was wondering why I was taking all the gear out of that. Anyway, I had a nice early bed and I woke up this morning with a new lease on life. So basically, I'm gonna go back to pulling that engine gearbox out, because at the end of the day, if I don't get either of these done, I still have that little guy right there to ride, my new Pan America. So don't really give a fuck. It's not a chopper, whatever. I want to get this thing done. So I'm just going to push ahead. The reason why I was procrastinating so much about pulling that engine gearbox out is because that's pretty well a perfectly good running bike. I've got a fucked rear tire. One of the bolts came out of the rear guard. This guy right here. That bolt came out of the rear guard. Little trick for you players at home. Put the bolt in this direction, not that direction. I put the bolt in back this direction, and the nut came off and it just walked out and went through the sidewall of the tire. So this tire, the sidewall of this tire is absolutely cactus now. And I also have a slow leak in the tube. So this bike is basically a runner beside the rear tire. So I was sort of procrastinating to myself, why am I pulling apart a perfectly good bike to make this one run when I'm still waiting on parts for this one? I'm really got my fingers crossed on some parts I'm waiting for to finish this off. Little things like a brake light switch, which I can go without, to be honest. I ordered a chain. I do have a chain hanging around. I would like a nice chain, because you know how they stretch and become really annoying. Chain, this, that, and some other bits and pieces. Also, I got the headlight on last night while I was procrastinating. I also finished up the rear wheel. When I say finished it up, I finalized it, Loctited all my hub bolts. They always come loose, so Loctite and a breaker bar on those bitches. Did all that. I even greased the hub, Loctited all this stuff, finalized my crossover bar. All that is finalized. So I did do something last night while I was procrastinating. So like I said, I had the SADs a bit overworked. I've probably done 100 hours in the last few days working on this piece of shit. So basically, I have woke up this morning with a new lease on life. I'm gonna pull that engine gearbox out of that thing and jam it in this. Even if the parts come and I don't ride this thing, I still needed to pull that engine and gearbox out of this thing because I do want to refresh it. So it's not wasted time. I will put it in this and ride it for a bit. The other thing I was a bit got the shits about was I have to do an exhaust for this because I don't have one. But I was thinking, I have the old exhaust off my generator shovel down here. So that's it there. If I get stuck, I can just run the old exhaust off my generator shovel. It's like a shotgun, it's two low pipes that come down and just like shotgun out the side of the bike. It'll look pretty good. So I don't have to go through and do it a crazy exhaust if I don't really want to. I can do that fucking later. I just want to ride this thing for the weekend. So basically, now that I have all this finalized as much as I can, like I said, I got the headlight on now. The rear wheel is finalized all together. The crossover is all finalized together. Not much point putting the floorboards and shit on because I need to fucking throw the engine in here. So all I'm going to do now is take these tanks off, so when I get the engine and gearbox out of that, I can frisbee it straight in here and get going on this. So that's exactly what I'm going to do now. I'm going to get this thing up on the lift and I'm going to pull this engine and gearbox out now. I'm going to stop procrastinating and I'm just going to fucking do it. So let's fucking get into it. Alright, I cut out all the boring shit for you. I went through, basically stripped this whole perfectly good running bike, but I'm lucky I did. I found a few things in the primary that were not great. A bearing was falling apart and a few other bits and pieces. So, like I said, it is time to give this thing a birthday anyway, so I'm not that annoyed that I pulled it apart, but it is going to a good cause. I'll put it in this chopper for a few months until I get that pan head completely done. And then I need to do the gearbox as well. When we get the pan head and the gearbox done, we will replace it all and do a little refresh on that chopper. So anyway, like I said, cut out all the boring shit. I've got the gearbox out, got everything out. The engine is loose, ready to go. So nothing else for it. Let's pull this engine out. Who knows the last time this engine was removed from this bike? I'm sure it was many, many years ago. I need to cut something I've just noticed. The stupid long breather for this thing, I need to cut that off. So like I said, it's probably been fucking 20 years or something since this motor's been out. And yeah, I'm looking forward to fucking giving this a refresh, doing all the frame and paint and all that sort of stuff. So let's fucking get this engine out. The other thing I've noticed is someone's put these stupid big rocker box bolts in it, and she can't get the thing in or out, so they just absolutely foul on everything, and they don't even look good, these stupid bullet things. Give me a sec, I've got to pull a couple off on the other side. They're too tall, they hit the frame, so it's only going to be worse than the rigid frame. Alright, round two, I've gotten rid of a few bolts there, and now this thing will come out. So I want to pull this. Oh, you're kidding. There's another one. Oh, these bolts are fucking ugly. Why would you put them on there? Oh, sorry, there's fucking one more that needs to come off. Why would you put them on there if you can't pull the motor out with them on? They don't even look good. The annoying thing is the whole motor's covered in them. Even the timing cover has them, and I'm worried about the brake arm goes through here. I wonder if it's just going to hit them all. So fucking stupid. Anyway, hopefully this motor comes out now after all of that crap. Looks like it should do. Let's fucking give it a reef. Oh. Woo. Oh. Couple of fuels. Oh, covered in fuel. Fuck, those things are heavy. Yeah, a couple of rocks. Righto, now I'm just going to clean up all this mess and we'll get the chopper up here. I'm probably going to give the motor and gearbox a quick gurney, clean them up a little bit, and then we'll fucking throw them in. Alright, I know I said I wanted to fucking give this engine a quick gurney before I put it in, but I don't want to have to fucking carry the thing down to the house to give it a gurney. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to chuck the engine in the frame as it is, and then I'm just going to wheel this thing down to the house and pressure wash it, clean the engine up, and then I will start with putting the primary and gearbox and all that shit together, because that's probably going to be the hardest part. The rest of it's just little odds and ends. So let's fucking stick this engine in, eh? See what it looks like. I went through and changed all those nuts over as well to just normal fucking old nuts. I don't know why. Those dome nuts look like shit anyway. So fingers crossed this thing fits. So let's have a friggin' look, eh? See if I can't get more fuel all over me. That was nice. Whoop. Oh, look at this. Fucking piss it in. I probably would have got close with those stupid dome nuts in it, to be honest, but here we are. The engine mounts aren't real fucking flash, so I might have to shim them yet. But that is pretty well it. I see an issue with my silly little breather here. It hits on the crossover tube, so I need to fix that before I put this back in. Fucking hell, my oil line's just cleared ahead here, so that's fucking good. All should work, but this is the issue that I have. So I'm going to change this stupid breather here, and then I should be right. So bear with me, I'm going to change this breather, and then we'll go give this thing a fucking gurney. Fingers crossed my stupid floorboard fits here as well. I'm fucking these stupid nuts on the outside. I reckon they're going to give me fucking drums as well. So fuck, these nut kits look like shit. Alright, this is frickin' first looks at it. Fits in there fucking quite nicely actually. It has like the exact same amount of room as what the actual generator shovel frame has. So fits all pretty nicely. I have all the engine mounts done up now. I had to shim the one on that corner. No big deal. This is just like the breather, the engine breather, and it just screwed out. So I'm just gonna get a screw in 90 and just shoot it straight down. That doesn't need to have anything there. And this one was just, I don't even fucking know what that is. I'm just gonna get another cap like that and cap that one. This must be a later pump off a shovel that when they had those stupid years where they circulated oil in and out of the primary. That's why it's got all these different outlets and shit. So I'm gonna fuck all that off. But basically, she's freaking in there. There's a couple of things that I've seen that aren't gonna work, like this fucking annoying mount here. I'm gonna have to just make something real quick to make this happen. So that's not the end of the world. I can fucking make do with that. But that's the only annoying thing I've seen so far. Hopefully all the brake and everything bolts up here. Like I said, I want to go through and put the gearbox in first and get all the primary nutted out, just because I'm going from an electric start alloy primary to a tin primary. I don't know if I've mentioned that. I have a fucking tin primary here that I want to run. So this guy will go in there like that. So I have a tin primary that I want to run. It actually sort of lines up with some bolts here. This is the first time I've put it on, so I'm fucking pretty happy with that. Even the bolt holes line up there. Just gonna have to see what the center of the gearbox is gonna do. Made in America, I think that says there. That's an original part, obviously. So hopefully this sort of ends up somewhere in the middle. Otherwise I'm gonna be in a bit of trouble. I'm gonna have to do a bit of hacking up. Or I have two different belt drive setups. Ben forgot to take his belt drive setup when I pulled his pan head apart. So if worst comes to worst, I'm gonna try his belt drive. Maybe it pushes the gearbox a little bit back. But basically this is an idea of what this thing's gonna look like. I'll worry about that after I clean it up. So I'm gonna get this thing down to the house, give it a good gurney, have some fucking lunch, and then start fucking tearing into this thing. My order has come for all the chain and everything like that. I've just got to wait for my missus to get home tonight with it, and I'll get started on it. Not the end of the world. I really don't need it just yet. Just all the chain and all the few bits and pieces like that. How's this fucking magpie's coming into the fucking inside now? Go away! Swooping me in the shed. Anyway, that is pretty well it. Like I said, I'll come back when I've done a bit more, but we are fucking getting there. The light is the end of the tunnel, so to speak. All right, so it is bright and early on the last day. I need to ride this thing to New South Wales tomorrow. Tomorrow morning, first thing. I don't have tomorrow to work on it. I gotta leave first fucking thing in the morning. So I knocked out quite a bit last night. I went through and got pretty well the whole primary sorted. I got the tins to fit, which is a fucking pain in the ass. I've bolted them all up. I have my clutch lever here, which I've just tie wired for now. I will do that better in the future, but my lead pedal works and everything. I've even got a back chain so this thing doesn't float back like most of them do, which is super fucking annoying. Got my shifter on here. This is just like a cupboard knob that I found. I don't know where I found it, but big, nice guy. You can give that a push, change your gears. But we are starting to fucking get somewhere. So today I have quite a list of shit I need to do. So obviously the main port of call is I need to do an exhaust for this thing. I tried all my different exhausts here and nothing really works. Maybe like one pipe on the front will work, but then the rear doesn't work because it's got the mechanical crossover. And all the generator shovel pipes I have obviously are reduced so they don't have that crossover, so they don't fit. So basically this is where it's at. I just want to get this thing mechanically sound, and then we will do an exhaust and then wire it, and then we're good to go. I'm getting the seat dropped off today. So the seat should be here around lunchtime. I don't really need it yet because it's not ready to ride, but around lunchtime I'll get the seat for this, and I'm hoping to have this thing test ridden this afternoon, last thing this afternoon, and then I'll load it up with my bag and shit and fucking get going. But we're pretty well there. I got the chain and shit on now. The chain was typical. See how far forward I am on the adjuster. It was either this short or one link longer, which was fucking super long. So I've gone with the short option. Fingers crossed that'll be all right. And then usually when you put a new chain on, it does a little bit of a stretch anyway. So fingers crossed that all this works out. But I made the guard with enough clearance so the wheel could be the whole way forward. So we should be right. We shouldn't have any clearance issues. The wheel's just all the way forward in the adjusters, which is not the end of the world. So basically what I want to do before I get started on an exhaust, I want to go through and I'm going to do the oil lines so I know where the exhaust has to miss. I think this thing has an intake leak, so I want to redo those seals because I'm kickstarting this now. If it was electric start like it was in the bagger over there, I wouldn't care. I'd just leave it and electric start. It doesn't really matter, but because I'm kicking it, an intake leak's going to make starting it super hard. So I want to do the oil lines and that, and then I also have my brake switch here. So I think I'll do that with the wiring. I won't worry about that right now, and sort the brake switch with the wiring. So let's go through. We will do the carburetor and the oil lines and then start an exhaust, I reckon. So I really need to pull my finger out today and sort this thing out. So let's fucking get into it. All right, so I've ticked off a few jobs here. I have the tanks permanently on now. I did all the oil lines. They're all sorted. I wired up the headlight before I put the tanks on just so I didn't have to route this annoying wire with the tanks on. So all that's sorted. Like I said, I took the carby off and I did the O-rings at the back. I'm not sure if that was the issue, but this thing was doing a bit of a cough on the generator over on that bike. This is the generator shovel. On that bike was doing a bit of a cough. And it was sort of a toss-up between it being the intake seals or leaking through the butterfly shafts, which is pretty common on those Bs, but it didn't look like those intake seals were leaking, so I reckon I'm going to have the same issue. But anyway, we'll work that out. So basically, like I said, tanks are on, headlight wired up. I'm going to use this terminal on the coil as a bit of a bank. So I'm going to have power coming out to the coil, which is going to power the coil and then power the headlight as well. And then I've got a 5-pin relay so that another one of the pins can go down to the tail light. This is probably going to be where I run the tail light, just because it's going to be nice and easy down there. So that's that. Everything else is pretty well done. I will shorten the bars and everything when I pull it off the table, but that's how it is for now. Now, I was going to go get started on the exhaust now, but thinking about it, I've got it up on the bench here. Why don't I do all the wiring and everything and then I can pull it off the bench, do the exhaust over there, and then I can start it up and it's done. So I think that's what I'll do now. I'll go through, I'll just wire it up quickly. This is gonna be the most crude wiring job. I'm gonna have one circuit breaker, one relay, and a switch. There's on and off, and that's it. So on is just gonna be headlight, coil, tail light, everything will be on. Obviously brake light will work, and then it'll just be off. So not gonna have separate relays like I usually run, not gonna have separate circuit breakers, all that shit. It's gonna be so fucking simple. Like I said, I'm gonna have a power wire going to the coil there, and that's gonna be a bank that'll power the headlight, and I think the headlight, coil, and the tail lights all I have to power. So, oh, and I gotta run a wire from the generator up to the battery and then the timer. I've already got the wires here for the timer, so I should be able to just hook them up. The timer's obviously already set because it was in the other bike. I think I do have a power wire here. I'm just not sure. It goes into a 2-core, and I'm not sure if it fucking reaches. So I will have a look at that. If it doesn't reach, I'll just have to run a new one. But basically, this is where I'm up to. I'm getting super close now. Once I have done the wiring, and then it's a quick exhaust. I'm talking fucking quick. I'm not gonna polish any welds, none of that shit. I'm gonna use stainless, mild steel, everything. I'm just gonna have 2 stainless pipes out the back, obviously, and then I've got some slinkies. I might try and run a slinky over the weld so you don't see it as much, but we'll see. I'm not sure yet. Like I said, it's gonna be just a quick exhaust. This is just a quick chuck together bike. I can always make it a bit better next time. So let's fucking get into it. All right, so got a bit of an update. I have the wiring completely done now. So I have the rear brake switch on, I have my tail light on, I have all the wiring in here done, the battery is fitted. I don't have the battery base, so I just went ahead and fabricated a little thing to hold the battery. You can probably see it. I'll probably never fix it, but that's all done. Like I said, I've got 1 circuit breaker, 1 relay, and everything fucking runs off that. I just got a dodgy little switch here. I've got the headlight doubled off the coil here like I was talking about, and a 5-pin relay means I have 2 posts on the relay that I can take power off. So all that's pretty well done. Check this out. Boots, we got a fucking headlight. Headlight on, coils powered. We got a freaking tail light, look at this. And hold on, let's see if it works. All right, it's not working, it was. What the fuck's going on? Oh, it's smoking. That's not great. Hold on. Whoa, whoa, whoa. What the fuck's going on there? Why is it smoking? I just had this thing fucking working and now it's smoking. So, I'm not... Oh, I reckon that's probably got something to do with it. See that little bit right there touching? I reckon that's got something to do with it. So, I'm going to fix that. Glad I fucking tested that with you guys. But that is... all the wiring completely fucking finito, and that means it's exhaust time and then ride time. Actually, look at this. Look what got delivered in the meantime. Oh, fucking that guy's still hanging around. Where is he? You're a fucking prick. Check it out. Oh, as soon as I turn away, look, I'll turn my head away. Ah! You fucking prick. All right, here's my seat. Got the seat done. Look at this, nice, simple little seat. So all it does, just got a little nub on it. I haven't even looked at it, to be honest. I've been fucking too busy. Little nub goes in there like that. Little bolt down at the back. Sorted, look at that. Thanks, Ron. Big shout out to Brondle Sewing, my buddy Ron. Fucking knocked me out a quick seat. Can't complain. Just a fucking 2-day turnaround. Nice, that'll come in, all that leather will come nice once I fucking sit on it for a couple of hours, but that is fucking badass. So we've got a seat, we've got wiring, we've got everything. The only thing we're missing now is a fucking exhaust. Now, what I'm gonna do, this exhaust fits on the front. I just don't like this pipe, so I think I'm gonna cut the pipe off there and extend it just with a stainless tube, just out a little bit, maybe extend it to like here. And then I'll do a top pipe and just have like, sort of like a high and low slash cut pipe. It'll look pretty sick actually. So let me get this bike off the lift, do all that, and we will get back when I start fabricating this exhaust. All right, so it is off the bench, sitting on the ground. I've had a stroke of good luck. I just bought this bag of fucking exhaust pipe stuff off my buddy Ryan, and turns out he had the exact pipe that I want to fucking run. So I just want to run like a high-low. So you can see this pipe I've got. This is a proper generator shovel front pipe. I just want to cut off the muffler and stick a straight piece on a little bit higher. So I'll cut it off there, and the rear piece, oh, it's fucking mint. All I'm going to do, I'm going to cut it off here, and I'm going to put a longer piece of stainless on with a big slash cut. I just want to have this go long enough past this so I can put a tab onto my sissy bar. So I can have a nice long bit of stainless with a big slash cut on the end, and the same with this one. I'll probably finish it about here though. So a bit longer, but I'll finish the slash cut about there. And that will be my high-low pipes. It'll be pretty fucking sick. So that is the thing sitting on the ground. It sits super nice. I love these FLH super short wide glides. They look sick and they work even better. So this thing is turning out mint. Only issue I've seen so far is my annoying clutch arm. See how close it is to the chain? I think I have to pull that out, do a bit of a bend and put it back in. So hopefully I can do it without fucking up my clutch here too bad. But we are on the fucking home straight here. Stoked to have a bit of a win with that exhaust. Let's fucking get stuck into it and get this exhaust done. I want to test ride this thing now that we've got our seat. The other thing I need to do is put my number plate mount on. So I've had this sitting around. Buddy Joel cut it for me. Just need to put this on and I am freaking gravy. I'm not 100% sure where I want to put it yet. Not like that, somewhere there like that. So I'll do the pipes first, then we'll worry about this fucking government optional extra stuff later. So a bit of an update, that's that front pipe done now. I ended up having just like a couple sections of stainless pipe like this. One already had a slash cut on it and it was the right length. I didn't even bother shortening it, I just put the cunt straight on. That is fucking sweet. I'm pretty stoked with how that's turned out. I reckon these front pipes that come in front like that are fucking tough as. So I'm pretty stoked how that came out. I'm not worried about this weld. I just left it proud so it's nice and strong. And I haven't finished welding this yet, but I just put a tab off the gearbox there. Yes, that is not going to be great if I need to move the gearbox, but I shouldn't have to. So the gearbox should stay. So I can always move that a little bit if need to, if the gearbox moves. But that is the front pipe done. Now all I've got to do is the same on the rear pipe. I reckon it looks fucking sick. So let's freaking get it. All right, exhaust is completely finished. I ended up making this pipe the same length as the front pipe. So I don't know if you guys had anything to do with exhausts on like modified cars and stuff. Tune length headers are the best. So tune length means when both exhaust pipes are the same length. Basically, one's gonna have the same back pressure as the other one, blah, blah, blah. Not that this is a race setting by any means, but it does look cool as well, but it does help the engine as well when the exhaust pipes are the same length. So basically, they're exactly the same length, just a nice little high-low slash cut jobby like that, and that is fucking sweet. So basically this thing's good to go. I just got to do two annoying things. I got to weld that on so I have a number plate. That's pretty crucial. And I need to fix that fucking clutch arm that I was talking about. So I'm probably going to put the bike back up on the bench to fix the clutch arm. I'll probably take it off, give it a little tweak and put it back on. The other thing I want to do is cut down these bars finally. I need to cut them shorter so my throttle grip goes up here, and I have a mirror to put on it as well. There's a fucking, just a nice little fucking round mirror here I want to put on as well. So a few little bits and pieces. We are not far away from firing this thing up for the first time and taking it for a first rip. So let's get rid of these annoying jobs and let's take this thing for a test ride. Right, so I have basically all my jobs ticked off here. I've put oil in this thing, I've put fuel in this thing. Now is, why does it look like it's leaking? Oh no. Looks like these tanks might be fucking leaking. What the hell? Looks like this tank's fucking leaking. Oh, are you fucking kidding? Fucking pissing fuel just there. Let's see if it fucking starts first. I'll fix this fucking fuel leak later. So, like I said, fuel in it, oil in it. Let's fucking get some fuel to the carburetor to start with. That is so annoying. These fucking tanks are leaking. What are the odds? 5 tanks that are fucking leaking. It's like a fucking slow drip under here between the tanks. That is just my luck. Anyway, let's fucking see what this does. Couple of primes. Let's put the ignition on and see what happens. Oh, you're kidding. How fucking good's that? Apart from the fucking fuel leak I've got in the tank, but I'm going to forget about the fuel leak for now. I'm going to take this thing for a test ride. If it rides all good, then I will take this tank off and inspect it. That is the fucking most annoying fucking thing ever. But anyway, the thing runs. Let's fucking take this thing for a riff. Alright, so first ride went pretty good. Apart from the fucking annoying fuel leak it's got, it also had a weird bind up. So like it was riding fine and then suddenly it had a heap of resistance and I was like, oh, that's a bit funny. Came to a stop and then it stalled the engine. So I was like, oh, that's weird. And there was smoke coming out from back here somewhere. So I was like, oh, that's fucking funny. Because I checked this clearance, well, I thought I did. I checked this clearance when I put it all together and it seemed fine. But obviously when I've done it up, it's pushed the taper in further and then it's obviously pushed the basket closer to our support here. So as you can see, it was galling up on the back of our basket here. So I'm just going to quickly whip this thing off and put it in the lathe, take a face off that so it doesn't happen anymore, and we'll be gravy. I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do about this tank yet. I think I might put a full tank in it and see what it does. If it's really bad, I'm going to have to fix it, but I don't fucking know yet. But I'll fix this thing first. Here we are, the morning of. Ready to freaking go. What a fuck, man. I was gonna say you got a fucking stink eye. Everyone's watching. Yeah. Come on.
bro, it's hard enough.
Alright, so I am back from my trip. It was a good 3 days on this thing. I am fucking stoked with it. I didn't have to spin a spanner on anything. All I had to do with this thing was change a jet in my carburetor. I changed the intermediate jet in my carburetor just because on these Bs, the changeover between your intermediate and your fucking main is super annoying. It's like a big delay. So I just went a bit richer on my intermediate. And this thing was mint. I literally didn't do anything. I didn't adjust the chain, didn't have to tighten up a bolt, didn't have to fucking do anything. I just put fuel in this thing, got on it, and went. So, super stoked with how this went. This is pretty well how my pan's gonna look. I'm gonna change this a little bit. And then when the pan and gearbox are ready, I'll chuck it in this. I wanna do an Indian girder front end. I have a front end sitting around. I also have a Springer front drum for a Harley. So I want to put the Springer front drum on this wheel and run it with my girder front end. I need to change the front legs a little bit to do that, but I think it'll look super cool. So I'll get rid of this wide glide and do that. I'll change the color, I'll change the tanks. I need to put some panhead split tanks on this to run the panhead. And obviously I'll change the exhaust because this is for a shovel. I have some upsweeps fishtails for the panhead. So that'll pretty well be in another episode, obviously, in my Project Pan series. But this is just a little series, a good little series going through and getting this bike done for Hellride. So it was an awesome weekend. I hope you enjoyed the content of it. I didn't really film too much just because I was pretty beat from a week working on this thing. I just wanted to sit around, drink beers, and do fucking nothing. So, thanks for watching the episode. Hope you guys enjoyed it. There's a few ways you can support the channel. You can go down in the description below. You can buy one of these shirts, or I have a little buy me a beer button. If you just wanted to contribute a little bit, whatever, you can go there, buy me a beer, and that helps me, pay for shit around the place, helps me put this shed up, helps me put beer in the fridge. And helps you keep putting out content like this because it does take forever to film this stuff. So thanks again, guys, and I'll see you on the next one.